The morning sun spilled over the Okavango Delta like liquid gold, touching every blade of grass, every drop of dew, and every ripple of the river. The jungle seemed to wake slowly, stretching under the warm light. A family of antelope moved quietly through the tall grass, their hooves brushing softly against the earth. Dragonflies hovered above the water, flashing blue and silver as they caught the light. It was a morning that looked too perfect to ever break. Near the edge of a wide, winding river, a baby rhinoceros took its first careful steps away from its mother. Its skin was gray and still soft, creased like folded clay, and its horn was nothing more than a small bump above its nose. The calf was curious. Everything around it was new, shining, and full of smells it didn't understand. It lowered its head toward the river, sniffing the air. The scent of wet soil, reeds, and tiny fish tickled its senses. Behind it, the mother rhino grazed peacefully, her ears flicking to keep track of her baby's soft movements. For a moment, all was calm. The air was cool, the water was gentle, and even the birds seemed to sing slower, as if the world itself was at peace. But peace in the wild is never forever. Up in a fig tree that leaned over the river, a leopard rested on a thick branch, her tail hanging lazily through the leaves. She was young but strong, her golden coat marked with dark rosettes that shimmered in the sunlight. She wasn't hunting, not yet. Her belly was full from a kill made the night before. Still, her eyes, deep amber and steady, followed the baby rhino with quiet interest. There was something about the calf's clumsy innocence that drew her attention. It wasn't hunger that made her watch, it was something else. A quiet loneliness that had begun to follow her since the day she'd lost her last cub to a flood. Below her, the river whispered secrets. The surface shimmered, calm and beautiful, but beneath it, something stirred. Ripples formed where no wind blew. The water's reflection wavered, like a warning the world had not yet learned to read. In the deep green shadows below, an anaconda lay coiled among reeds and roots. Its body was thick as a tree trunk, its scales dark and slick like oil. It had been waiting there for hours, still as stone, its tongue flicking out to taste the air. The scent of the rhino calf, a warm pulse of life, reached it through the water. The snake's eyes, small and cold, opened. Slowly, it began to move. The jungle, in its quiet rhythm, continued unaware. A breeze danced through the reeds. The leopard's tail twitched. The baby rhino stepped closer to the edge, its tiny feet sinking into the mud. A splash of water rose where it tapped the surface with its nose, and the calf blinked, surprised. The sound made the leopard lift her head. Her ears angled forward. Something felt off. The leopard's muscles tightened, though she didn't yet know why. Her instincts, sharpened through generations of survival, whispered to her that still water is never truly still. Her gaze followed the faint circle of ripples spreading outward near the calf's feet. Her heart began to beat faster, not from hunger or fear, but from a strange awareness, a silent alarm she couldn't ignore. Below, the anaconda glided closer, its massive body barely stirring the river. It could feel the vibration of each step the baby rhino took. It was patient. Every movement was slow and deliberate, like a shadow crawling through another shadow. When it reached the shallow part of the river, just beneath where the calf stood, it paused. Its muscles coiled tight, ready to strike. The mother rhino lifted her head. She turned an ear toward the sound of the water, but it was soft, too soft to cause alarm. She grunted once, warning her calf not to wander too far. The baby turned its head toward her, letting out a small squeak in response. That small distraction gave the anaconda what it needed. From the branch above, the leopard's eyes narrowed. She saw it, just a flicker beneath the surface, a blur of movement that didn't belong. Her claws dug into the bark. Something inside her shifted, the same instinct that made her protect her own cubs once before. She didn't move, not yet, but she watched with every muscle ready. The sunlight broke through the trees, striking the water like molten glass. The anaconda moved again, faster this time. The ripples spread wider. A faint hiss slid through the reeds. The baby rhino stepped forward. The water trembled. The leopard froze. And in that breathless instant, before the world would erupt into chaos, there was silence, deep, unnatural silence. Even the wind stopped moving. The leopard's fur stood on end as her instincts screamed. Something terrible was about to happen. She saw the faintest swirl of mud under the surface, the faintest shimmer of scales catching the light. It was enough. Her body coiled, ready to leap. But she hesitated, just 1 second too long. The river seemed to hold its breath. Then it broke. The violent splash shattered the calm, sending droplets of water flying into the air. The baby rhino let out a startled cry as something enormous surged upward from below. The water turned dark and wild. The leopard's eyes widened. From her branch, she could see the coils rising, massive, glistening, alive. The anaconda's body curved through the air like a living rope, striking with silent precision. The calf stumbled backward, confused, but the snake was faster. It slid toward the bank, the rest of its body still hidden underwater. The mother rhino spun around, her horn low, her breathing heavy with alarm. Her calf bleated again, louder this time, a sound of pure, helpless fear. The leopard's muscles quivered. She had seen death many times in this jungle, but something about this moment was different. It wasn't just another hunt. It felt wrong. She looked at the baby again, its wide eyes, its tiny trembling frame. And for a brief, flickering moment, she felt the echo of her own lost cub. That memory burned like fire behind her ribs. The leopard's gaze dropped to the water one more time, to the ripple that was now moving faster toward the calf. Her breathing slowed, every sense sharpened. She didn't know why she was watching so closely, why her heart felt caught between fear and urgency, but she couldn't look away. The snake's head rose slightly above the surface. Motionless now, its black eyes fixed on the calf. The leopard shifted her weight. The mother rhino took a step forward, still unsure of what danger hid beneath the calm. And in that breathless, golden light of morning, the balance of the wild was about to break. Somewhere deep inside, the leopard knew it. The stillness wasn't peace anymore. It was warning. And as the anaconda began to move again, she realized with a sudden, fierce certainty, something terrible was about to happen. And she might be the only one close enough to stop it. The jungle, for one last moment, stayed perfectly still. The air split with a sound that didn't belong to the calm of morning. A sharp cry, high and panicked, like something tearing through the heart of the delta. Birds shot up from the trees in a sudden white burst. The world that had been quiet only moments ago now trembled with noise and motion. The river exploded. The baby rhino screamed. Water and mud sprayed into the sunlight as something dark and monstrous rose from the depths. A coil thicker than a log, glistening and alive. The anaconda struck with the precision of lightning. Its head, blunt and cold, slammed into the calf's chest. And before the air could fill again with sound, its body followed, wrapping, twisting, suffocating. The calf squealed, thrashing as the snake's coils tightened. The sound pierced the jungle. Its mother's head snapped up, her nostrils flaring. She saw the water churning, saw the flash of movement, and she charged. The ground shook beneath her massive frame. Her horn cut through the reeds like a spear. She hit the riverbank at full force, mud exploding under her feet as she plunged forward with a roar that carried through the valley. But the anaconda was already pulling the baby down. Its tail anchored deep into the mud, using its full length to drag the calf into the murky shallows. The baby fought to lift its head, gasping for air that turned to bubbles. Its legs kicked weakly, its small horn slicing through nothing but water. From above, in the shade of the fig tree, the leopard froze. Her amber eyes locked onto the chaos below. Every instinct screamed at her to stay still, to let the jungle play its cruel rhythm. A rhino's fight was not her fight, yet her muscles trembled as she watched the snake's body twist and flex, scales flashing black and green in the morning light. The mother rhino hit the water like thunder. Her horn struck the snake's midsection, cutting into flesh, but the anaconda barely loosened its grip. Its muscles flexed with terrifying power, wrapping tighter, crushing bone and breath. The mother roared again, pushing forward, her body half submerged. Mud and blood mixed in the water. The leopard couldn't look away. She saw the calf's wide eyes, saw its mouth open and close in silence, bubbles streaming from its nostrils. Something deep within her stirred, a memory, old and painful. A cub's cry, a flood sweeping through reeds. A tiny body that never moved again. Her tail flicked once. then twice, and suddenly, she was moving. The leap was silent but powerful, a golden blur cutting through the air. She landed in the mud near the water's edge, her paws sinking deep, her body low and coiled. For a heartbeat, she hesitated. This wasn't her prey. This wasn't her world. But instinct had already taken over. Not the instinct to kill, but to interfere. The snake turned, sensing movement. Its head lifted from the water, eyes like polished stones locking onto the leopard. The leopard hissed, her lips curling back to reveal long, curved fangs. She launched herself forward. Her claws slashed across the snake's thick hide, tearing into the glossy scales that had trapped the calf. The anaconda thrashed, whipping its tail so hard that it sent waves crashing against the bank. The leopard dug her claws deeper, biting down on the snake's neck, tasting blood and mud. The river became a storm of movement, horn, claw, and coil colliding in raw violence. The mother rhino lunged again, stabbing with her horn, trying to free her calf. Each strike was wild, desperate. The leopard clawed and bit, tearing open small wounds that bled into the brown water. But the snake was ancient and strong. Its muscles rippled like steel cables beneath the leopard's paws. It twisted suddenly, slamming its full weight against her body. The impact knocked the leopard off balance. She hit the mud hard, rolling to her side, coughing as the air was driven from her lungs. She tried to rise, but the world spun. Her ribs burned. Through blurred eyes, she saw the anaconda recoil, then strike again, this time at her. The snake's tail lashed out, catching her hind leg. She yowled, claws raking the air as she twisted to escape. The mother rhino bellowed in fury, charging again, water splashing high over her back. She crashed into the serpent, sending waves that drenched the leopard where she lay. For a moment, it seemed the attack had worked. The coils loosened slightly. The baby's head surfaced, gasping, crying weakly. But the victory lasted only seconds. The snake tightened again, wrapping around the calf's neck and torso, dragging it down once more. The baby's eyes rolled back. Its cries faded to gurgles. The mother screamed, a sound that didn't sound like any animal at all. It was grief and rage made real. She plunged forward, trying to stab again, but her horn hit mud. The anaconda was too fast, too deep. The leopard staggered to her feet, her side bleeding from a long, shallow cut. She stared at the calf, its small head barely visible beneath the churning water. Something in her mind cracked open. That old memory again. Her cub's face, her cub's silence. The river hissed. The world slowed. Then she moved. With a snarl that tore from the depths of her chest, the leopard charged. She didn't think. She didn't hesitate. She slammed into the anaconda's midsection with all the power left in her body. Her claws dug deep, her teeth found purchase, and she pulled. The snake writhed, but she held on, even as its tail whipped against her spine. Mud splashed across her eyes, blood filled her mouth, and still she bit down harder. The mother rhino saw the chance. With a roar that shook the reeds, she lunged again. This time, her horn struck true. It pierced through the snake's coils, slicing open flesh. The anaconda recoiled, twisting violently. Its grip loosened at last. The baby's head broke the surface again, gasping, crying. It was still alive, but the leopard was thrown aside like a rag doll. She hit the riverbank with a sickening thud, rolling onto her side. Her breath came in shallow bursts. Her paw twitched. The world around her blurred into sound and color, water crashing, hooves pounding. The hiss of the wounded snake slipping back into deeper water. For a long, heavy moment, everything froze. The leopard lifted her head weakly. Through the haze of pain, she saw the calf struggling to breathe, its tiny chest heaving. The mother was beside it now, pressing her body protectively against her baby's. The water around them was red and brown, alive with the scent of blood and life and mud. The leopard's vision darkened at the edges. She blinked, trying to stay awake. She saw the anaconda's body sinking into the river, slow and silent. She saw the baby's eyes open again, cloudy but alive. Something in her heart softened, an emotion she didn't have a name for. Her instincts told her to crawl away, to hide and heal. But her body didn't move. Instead, she watched. The mother rhino nuzzled her calf gently, checking every breath, every movement. Above them, the sunlight broke through the trees again, spilling across the river like a silent blessing. The leopard's chest rose once, then again. She closed her eyes, breathing through the pain. Somewhere in the distance, the jungle began to sing again. Birds returning, insects buzzing, life continuing as it always did. The danger had passed. But something inside the leopard had changed forever. The mother rhino stood guard over her trembling calf. The leopard opened her eyes once more and saw their reflection in the water. 3 survivors bound by the same fight. Predator, prey, and the instinct that connects them all. And as the light faded, she realized something the wild rarely allows. Mercy, too, can live here. The river was quiet again. The storm of struggle had passed, leaving only the sound of water moving over mud and reeds. Broken branches floated downstream, carrying streaks of blood that thinned into the current and disappeared. The jungle, moments ago a battlefield of roars and thrashing, now stood completely still. The air was heavy, thick with the scent of wet earth and iron. The anaconda lay motionless in the shallows, its once powerful coils slack and torn. Its body, long and shining like black glass, no longer rippled with life. The fight that had shaken the delta had ended in silence. But the silence wasn't peace. It was the fragile breath that comes after chaos. When life hesitates between fear and relief, the baby rhino trembled beside the water, its small frame shivering, its eyes wide with confusion. Mud covered its skin, and tiny scratches ran across its body, reminders of the battle that nearly ended its life. Its chest rose and fell quickly, breath hitching between sobs of exhaustion. Each gasp seemed to pull the jungle back to life. Somewhere nearby, a bird called, a short, cautious note. Then another answered. Slowly, the world began to breathe again. The mother rhino stood guard, her body still dripping from the fight. Her horn was stained, her sides streaked with mud and blood, but she stood firm, shoulders squared, eyes scanning the river. Only when she was certain the snake no longer moved did she turn toward her calf. She nudged the baby's side with her horn, gentle now, urging it to stand. The calf whimpered softly, weak but alive. The mother made a low, rumbling sound, something between comfort and warning. It was the sound of relief she couldn't show any other way. Just beyond the reeds, half hidden under a tree, the leopard lay still. Her chest rose and fell in shallow, uneven breaths. Mud clung to her spotted coat, darkened with blood along her flank. Every breath hurt. She had not fought to kill, not for hunger or for territory. She had fought for something she didn't understand, a pull deep inside her, something older than instinct. The rhino mother lifted her head, her nostrils flaring as she caught the leopard's scent. Her muscles tensed again, ready to protect. But when she saw the big cat lying still, not moving, not threatening, something in her changed. The leopard wasn't a danger anymore. She was just another survivor. The mother stepped closer, slow and wary, her calf pressed against her leg. The leopard's golden eyes opened slightly. They met the rhino's gaze for the first time. There were no growls, no charge, no warning. Just quiet understanding. 2 mothers, one who fought to save, one who fought to protect. Neither had words, but something passed between them. Something older than sound. The rhino lowered her head, her breath brushing against the leopard's side. The leopard didn't flinch. She only blinked, her eyes glassy with exhaustion. For a long moment, the 3 of them, predator, prey, and the innocent, stood together in the fading mist. Then, with effort, the leopard began to move. She pushed her paws against the earth, groaning softly as she rose. Each step was a tremor of pain, but she didn't stop. The mother rhino watched as the leopard limped toward the reeds, her tail dragging behind her. The calf tried to follow with its eyes, curiosity flickering through fear. The leopard paused once, turning back for a final glance. The sun broke through the clouds just then, catching her fur and setting it ablaze in gold. For a heartbeat, she didn't look like a hunter or a hero, just a creature shaped by survival. Walking away from something she couldn't name, the river glimmered behind her, carrying away the story it had just witnessed. The anaconda's body sank slowly beneath the surface, disappearing into the dark water where life and death often traded places without warning. The jungle, with its endless hunger and beauty, resumed its rhythm as if nothing had happened. Hours passed, and the sun rose higher. Warm light poured through the trees, drying the mud and painting the world in soft hues of amber and green. The rhino calf slept beneath its mother's belly, safe in the shadow she cast. Every so often, it twitched in its sleep, a faint echo of the fear it had known, but it no longer cried. The mother stayed alert, ears twitching at every sound, her gaze drifting once toward the reeds where the leopard had vanished. By the time night returned, the sky glowed with deep orange fading to violet. The stars came out slowly, their reflections trembling in the calm river. The mother and calf had moved to higher ground, away from the water's edge. The jungle's chorus began again, frogs calling, crickets humming, the distant hoot of an owl watching from above. The day had ended as it began, but something unseen had changed in the heart of the delta. Deep in the shadows, the leopard moved quietly through the reeds. Each step sent pain up her side, but she kept going. She didn't look back. The jungle accepted her as it always had, without judgment, without thanks. Her body would heal, though the scar would remain, a thin line running down her flank. It would tell no one her story, yet it would live with her like a memory carved into skin. She stopped once, looking up at the rising moon. It hung low and pale over the trees, its reflection shimmering across the same river that had almost swallowed a life. The air was cool now, soft against her fur. Somewhere in the distance, she could hear the low calls of rhinos. One of them the mother she had fought beside. The leopard blinked slowly, then turned away, fading into the tall grass that by dawn. The world was new again. The mist rolled across the delta, and light spread through the canopy like gold dust. Tiny insects crawled from under leaves. Birds began to sing. The earth smelled of rain, life, and renewal. Near the clearing, the baby rhino stirred awake, stretching weakly and pressing its small head against its mother's leg. The mother lowered her head and nuzzled it back, her breath warm against its skin. The danger was gone, but its lesson remained. For in this wild, ancient place, every creature, predator or prey, lived by the same fragile truth, that life was not always about victory or hunger, but survival and mercy. As the first rays of sunlight touched the river, the reflection of the jungle shimmered, green, gold, and alive again. The anaconda was gone, vanished into the deep like a ghost. But its presence lingered, a reminder of the thin line between peace and chaos. And somewhere beyond the mist, the leopard walked alone, her golden coat glowing faintly in the light. She would hunt again, live again, as the wild demanded, but something inside her had shifted. She had tasted not only blood and battle, but compassion. She had fought beside those she once might have hunted. In time, no creature would remember the fight, no track or mark would remain. Yet, on quiet nights when the river lay still and the moonlight touched its surface, the jungle seemed to whisper of a moment when mercy overcame instinct. And in dreams the baby rhino would see it again, the blur of claws and spots, the light through the mist, and the shadow of a leopard who taught the delta that even the wildest hearts can choose kindness.